Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to our session in pursuit of happiness. And today we will be in conversation with Mr. Amit Chatterjee, who will be speaking on his passion, speed walking. We will start in about 2-3 minutes. We will wait for people to join in. There are many participants we're expecting, so let's just give them 2 to 3 minutes to start. All right. So I'm right here. We will start in 5 minutes. We will be starting soon our session in pursuit of happiness. We'll just wait for another 2 minutes. We start at 6:05. And it's 6:05. Once again, a very good evening and welcome everyone to this session on In Pursuit of Happiness. Today we are talking with Amit Chatterjee, entrepreneur, life coach, and a speed walker. And we are extremely enthusiastic because we have so many people who are interested in this topic. I don't think Amit believed that so many people really wanted to know about speed walking. So I'm very glad and thank you all for taking the time to be here. I am Chanda Verma. I am the Vice President and Financial Coach with My Financial Advisor. This session is brought to you by My Financial Advisor. So let me just take about 2 minutes to quickly introduce you to my firm for all those who don't know us. My Financial Advisor was founded in 2005 by our founder, Mr. Amar Pandit. It is one of the most trusted and respected firms, and we help our clients make smart and informed choices and decisions about money. 15-year-old firm. Happiness Factory is our own which helps us to track your goals, which helps you to track your goals yourself. We cater to 4 different types of professions: doctors, corporate executives, business owners, celebrities, and also specialized services are available for families of children with special needs, retirees, and women, independent women who want to take financial planning in their own hands. Our team is extremely passionate about doing the right thing for our clients. And we have forged relationships with our clients, which goes beyond planning, which goes beyond numbers. And we have forged relations which spans across generations. So our motto or our DNA is we will do for our clients what we would have done for our best friend or for our parents. So this is the role we all play in our client's life, that we won't let anything come in between you or your goals, not even you, because in most cases we have seen that when it comes to personal finance, it's usually us, our behaviors, our judgment, which sometimes comes between us and our financial goals. Before we start today's topic, let me introduce you to our CEO, Chitra Iyer, who will be in conversation with Amit Chatterjee. Chitra, can I have your video on, please? Hi.
Hey Tada.
Hi.
Hi.
So, a very quick introduction to Chitra. Chitra has been a pillar of strength for MFA since its inception in 2005. She's a cost accountant and a CFP with more than 20 years of experience in financial services sector. She's a great strategist with a very keen eye to spot opportunities to create value. And I'm sure Amit would also say that she saw more value in talking about speed walking than he did. But this has helped our company to expand our services across various practices, particularly so in the retiree segment and families with special needs. Chitra herself is a mother to a 22-year-old Shravan. She's a trustee and a treasurer for Forum for Autism, which is an NGO since 2000, Chitra. And she continues to create awareness and help and educate people about autism. Super enthusiastic individual, very, very passionate. She has participated in more than 20 marathons. She has written innumerable articles on educating people on handling their money in the right way. And her love for her team at MFA has really helped to build its culture. And we have created a happiness factory in its true essence today. So I would say over to you, Chitra. I hope people enjoy this conversation that we are having as much as we enjoyed having it.
Thank you so much, Chanda. Thanks a ton for this. And yeah, we supremely blessed, Chanda, that we meet people like Amit and without, taking too much of anyone's time, I'd like to, quickly also introduce our speaker for today. Before that, I want to tell you this series is called the In Pursuit of Your Happiness series. Why? Because when we meet people and we talk to them about money, right? We are essentially in the business of helping people think through what they want their money to do for them. So we have these specific questions where we ask every single family we meet that what makes you happy, and it seems like, why you asking me this question when it's got nothing to do about money, and you're going there. But that's exactly where we're able to capture the twinkle in people's eyes when they talk about a particular thing. And while of course, when I met Amit, he didn't show his twinkled eyes at that time about running to me. But still, along the way in our journey of being an advisor, for life, we talk about being with our clients for the rest of their lives and our lives. That's when, through various conversations, we actually get to know what really, makes them tick and what makes them so happy. And as part of this series, I have known that Amit is a runner for a very long time, but speed walking is something that's very different. And I'm sure all the people who are attending today, all of the 100 plus guys who registered and said that we want to know what this is and we'd like to understand better. I'm so happy that Amit, you agreed for this session. I'll request you to please turn on your video now. Yeah. Welcome, Amit. Good evening.
Good evening.
So, I'm extremely happy to introduce you to predominantly most of your friends who are attending, actually,
Yes,
Amit.
that's
And
true.
I hope at the end of the session, we can actually turn on everyone's videos and, also help you guys talk to each other. So, born in Calcutta, Amit was actually raised entirely in Telangana, and his earliest tryst that he describes was with athletics, and that was pretty much in school, inspired by his mother. He went on to win many events, but then he says that due to life's pressures and extensive travel to do with career, it took him away from his love for sports. Also, something very specific to Amit is that he was diagnosed with what is called hyperlipidemia, which is the tendency to, your cholesterol keeps on showing high all the time. Irrespective of whatever you do. I think Amit will also explain this better to you. This started for him in his mid 30s. That's when he got diagnosed, and he's still dealing with it. This prompted him to taking up running and then later speed walking, which is 14 years ago that he began, and is a story that he's going to share with us. Also, what I know of Amit, being part of a fantastic CXO community, he has had a wonderful 28 years of corporate life experience, and out of which he spent the last 15 years with the topmost MNC companies, right from 12 years with HP Hewlett Packard, and also he was the MD at Computer Associates for 3 years. He's currently also he is very involved professionally, extremely busy around his own business of consultancy and business advisory services, which he does along with advising on HR. He is also a professionally trained coach. Okay. I still remember when I walked into the CA office in BKC, and I was just sharing with him that he was sitting on his table, and I walked to him and say, "Hi, I'm here to meet you, and thank you so much for giving me time to talk about how we can do better life-centered, finance-related planning for your family." He was utmost honest, and he said, "Chitra, actually, don't talk to me so much about money. Please talk to my wife. Sunanda is the person you should go to." And I've had a beautiful relation with Sunanda. All of us, all the team members who have been very active and have met this wonderful couple, be it Sneha, Jyoti, Radha, Shivangi, everyone who's interacted with Amit, Pranati now. We've had such a fantastic time with the family and their children, and of course, I know about the furry baby that they really, truly, truly take care of their baby. And his passion for adventure and sports, I got to know later. Also, got to know that in 2017 he undertook an entire drive from Mumbai to Ladakh, which is actually a distance of 6,300 kilometers. Amit is also a pure yoga enthusiast and a spiritual seeker, is how he would like to call himself. And yeah, Amit, I'm going to hand over the screen to you. And once again, thank you so much for willing to do this for us. And not only all our clients, as well as your friends, and our team has also joined in, and everyone is waiting to listen to you. So over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chitra, for that warm welcome.
Yeah,
And I think that warmth is what signifies MFA.
yeah.
And welcome, friends. I know there are many, many friends on the line. I just want to change the view to, okay. Yeah, so there are many friends who have joined today, my own family members. So I welcome everybody. My doctor is there, Dr. Akshay Mehta. So Dr. Saab, this entire webinar is dedicated to you, Dr. Saab.
Yeah,
I'm
wow,
here because of you. So
wow, wow.
yeah, I'm very attached to him, and with his guidance, I kind of went through all those difficult periods of my life, and then with his support, the speed walking topic that you have today is because of Dr. Mehta. But before that, let me talk about MFA. Chitra, you guys are so wonderful, and everything that you heard earlier that is being said by Chanda, it is not a sales pitch. I would say it is a reality. I have experienced MFA for the last more than 10 years, and I can say that uh, all you guys stand really for that warmth, that care. As a financial services, as any services company, it's very rare to see that kind of warmth and commitment to clients. And as you mentioned, I'm pretty weak on financial matters. So for me, I just needed a trusted partner like you, which we clicked in 2010, and then since then we are together. So thank you, Chitra, again. It was your insight that I must come and talk about this. I had no belief that this is going to be a topic that will interest people. But anyway, we are here today, and I'll try to do as much justice as possible in today's presentation.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. Sure, Amit. All the best to you.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay, so let me share the presentation now. Okay, so if you told me that you cannot run because of whatever reasons, probably I could have given you some room there, benefit of doubt. But if you tell me that you cannot walk, that is not going to be acceptable, because anyone can walk. Walking is the easiest, simplest, and most powerful exercise that one can do to oneself. And so today's presentation is going to focus on walking, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the benefits of walking, which is actually known. So it's more a reiteration one more time, because we've all gathered here today. And then talk about speed walking, which is not that familiar. I'm sure you've seen people walk and people run, but what is the speed walking? So I'll share a little bit around that, and also tell you stories, share with you stories that I have undergone in the last 14 years. And also, I'm going to share with you stories of other my fellow runners. Some of them are there on the line today. My mentors, with whom I looked up to undertake this journey. Some of them are there on the line, so I'm very happy that they've made the time. So I'm going to share their stories and how they inspired me to undertake this journey.
Awesome.
I see we are talking, this is very sensitive, Chitra. We are talking about wealth. So first I have to talk about the financial wealth, and you guys do that so beautifully. But I also want to say that, you see, especially when you age a little bit and you're in your 50s, 60s or higher, and me and my wife Sunanda, we often have this discussion that, okay, we have made some money, over the years. But what happens, Chitra, is after some time you don't know what to, you have got so many restrictions about what you can do with your life because of health reasons. You have the money now. You may not have had the money when you were in your 20s, and you are really counting, which restaurant do you go to, and what food do you eat. Now you have the money, but you have the restriction because of health. This is the irony of life. So therefore, health is wealth is something, it's an adage we are all familiar with. But how much do we remind ourselves of this? And what kind of priority and commitment do we apply to health? I think that is a question mark. That is something that we all need to think about. And if you really look at what happens with health is, I want each one of us to remind ourselves of our high school times, childhood memories. When we were in our teens, high school, college times, we were so lean, we were so fit, we were so athletic. We used to participate in all kinds of activities. So that's really the time when you are at your best sense of fitness. Then you see what happens is you get into the 20s, then you get into your job. Once you get into a job, then the pressures of the job start to take over. And then health gradually starts to take a back seat. And then another big event happens in your life, which is marriage. And, and then with that, all the indulgence, more indulgence, correct?
Yeah.
More in-laws, more food, more this, more that. And then by then you are, then children, by then you are in your 30s. Once you're in your 30s, your career is now beginning to take off. So that takes priority. So now career is so important that, again, health takes a back seat. So this way, these things go on, and then I'm traveling so much. There are so many office parties, business parties. There is so much of indulgence and alcohol and this and that. All kinds of vices also we pick up along the way, and we do not pay heed to it because the body takes it in the 20s.
Yes.
The body is such a beautiful creation of this jagat, that it is able to withstand all the atrocities you put the body through. It is able to withstand. And I was telling my son the other day, when this shows up, and Dr. Saab will know, this shows up in your mid 40s. So all the lack of care that we do to our health, it starts to show much, much later. And therefore, friends, health is truly wealth. And I'm not trying to preach here. I know many of you are already giving health a very high sense of priority. Arun, thank you for all your lovely remarks. And I know, how much you lead a very high profile life, a very intense life, and at the same time, you're able to focus on the health. So I wanted to give here today two simple descriptions that I picked from my doctor of measurements of health. These are kind of, I'm oversimplifying here. The first is weight, and in weight, the BMI has to be less than 25. Now, so I am 5'6". So for people of my height, the weight needs to be below 68 kilos. And right now I'm not there. I'm overweight. I've got a few excess kilos on my body. So if you are above 68, that means you are overweight. An overweight person has got excess fat in the body, and that fat is the root of all diseases. So that is the one that we have to be really conscious about. If we can, therefore, the first metric, weight. If we can get the weight right, a large part of our objective around health is kind of, the primary requirement is kind of met. And another example of this BMI would be, if you are 5'10", then your weight should be under 75 kilos. Okay, so then anyway, you can Google up, and there are so many calculators there. The second one is the waist measurement, and this is a ratio which is measured, waist to hip ratio. It's measured as a waist to hip ratio, and that needs to be less than 0.9. So they are interlinked. If you start to work on your weight, and if the weight comes down, the waist size also will come down. But even this is another important metric.
Amit, just to remind you, you wanted to run a poll. When do you want to do that?
Why don't we run it now
Shall I?
before I start? Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just launching it. Requesting everyone to please We've already,
So 74%. So basically 100% in the category of extremely important and important,
yes,
and three fourths of the people are saying that the health is extremely important.
yeah.
That's the kind of priority we give to health. Yeah, it's nice to know.
And the second question that you wanted to ask, I'm launching
Yeah,
that.
yes, please. Yeah. Okay. I think Chitra, I think we got all the polls here.
Yeah,
So you see, the reason I put these two questions
yeah,
is what is important in our life. We are somehow not able to commit ourselves or dedicate ourselves to something for which we give extremely important score. And as a coach, I deal with these mindsets, and I observe what we call as self-limiting beliefs or fears, which stop us from getting there. So it is a mindset. It is somewhere in the mindset. Something is playing there. Something is stopping me from doing something which is such a high priority in my life. So if you can see, friends, from this poll, we have 74%, or almost three-fourths of the people uh, are in the under 6 hours. So 6 hours would mean about an hour, so which is not bad. So if you are exercising an hour a day, which is pretty good, and then you see 20% in the category of 7 to 10 hours, and I do not exercise is 5 hours, and about 30%, so a third of the people are under 3 hours. 3 hours would mean about half an hour a day, and those who are doing 1 hour, probably even lesser. Okay, all right. So this is just a teaser to see where this audience stands with respect to health. Now I will, Chitra, we can shut this poll. I'll continue the presentation and talk about. Now I
uh,
want to
you can
talk
just
about.
reduce the screen. I've stopped it.
Oh, okay, all right. So now I want to share with you a little story, my own journey, and that started, as I said, about 14 years back. uh, when I went to Singapore with HP, I was working with Hewlett Packard, and I was posted there in 2007. Now, for those of you who have visited Singapore, the people are extremely fitness conscious, and I was just amazed with their frame. When I was there, I was participating in this rowing, competition. Not It was not a competition; it was more rowing groups, and HP had a rowing team. And when you go there, it's a hot and humid climate, so the guys usually are bare bodied, bare chested. And when you look at their abs and the lack of fat in their abdomen, an Indian, and like me, I was feeling I used to feel so shy to be with them. And that was the group where we used to do rowing. And then early morning, if you wake up in Singapore early morning, you see people running, which is of course the case even now in India. And afternoon, you step out for lunch, you see people running. You come back after a late night dinner and you're entering your house, you see people are running because they have lovely footpaths. So people are running even at midnight because they want to finish off their work, they have their dinner, and then again they finish off the wind up the day with the run. So I was very inspired by them, and I said, I need to start taking to running as well. And then behind my office there was a gym, and there was a friend of mine who was also an Indian. So both of us used to finish off our work by about 5:30. Typically in those countries, nobody is around in the office after 5:30 p.m. So we used to go to the gym, and that's where on the treadmill I started running. And as it happens, as you all know, and there are many runners on the line today, in the beginning it is always a small journey, and then gradually the speed picked up. And in those days I used to run. I started this entire journey running, and probably I used to do about 10 kmph or something like that, but run for about half an hour to 1 hour. But that got me into this entire rhythm of body fitness. And those 2 years that I stayed there, it made me very fit. It changed my mindset towards health, and that my childhood dream of running, actually I started to live that, and that was my biggest joy. With that, I came to Mumbai I used to be living in Delhi before Singapore. So I now changed the city, and arrived in Mumbai in 2009. So when I came here, and as Chitra mentioned, I used to work for a company known as CA then. So I told my secretary that time the Stand Chart Mumbai Marathon was just starting. That was the first year, and I do not know how many people were there at that time in this race. I mean, the entry was absolutely a breeze. Today, you cannot get into TMM. It's a big tapasya to get into TMM. But those days, it's a breeze. I told my secretary, and she just booked me in this race. And this was their first race. It was my first race as a half marathoner. It was a big moment in my life, friends. For every racer who's finished the first race is very, very close to the heart. And you dreamt of being a marathoner, and then you did it one day. It was a big moment. I still remember my entire family came down at the podium. They received me. We did clicked so many pictures and all of that, and then so much care in terms of what I needed after the race. So it looked like a big, big day. And I continued that journey from there into the next year, 2011. And you can see the timings were almost the same. And then, after finishing this race, I now wanted to expand and start exploring other cities. So Delhi has a very popular marathon called the Airtel Delhi Half Marathon, ADHM. So I had booked myself, that happens in November. So I booked myself to go there in November. And around a week, 2 weeks before this, again, Chitra comes into the story. So she was proposing some policy, and then I had to undergo a medical test. Now, in that medical test, in the TMT, which is known as the treadmill test, I came positive. So treadmill test is an indicator of heart disease. So positive means something is not right. So I didn't believe it, because I was just a week before taking the flight to Delhi, and my wife was very insistent. She was not letting me go. She said that, you have to get this right. You have to get a doctor's approval. Otherwise, I'm not letting you go. I then went to Hiranandani Hospital in Powai, where I live. I said, let me go and check here, because the other one was a smaller place. Again comes positive. I still didn't believe it. Then, because I was running these races, I got this brand of Asian Heart Hospital, because they were the official medical sponsors for these races. So that brand recall was there. I said, I think Asian Heart is a good hospital. And then I land up in Asian Heart in the next 2 days. I land up there, and Dr. Mehta, he's my cardiologist, Dr. Akshay Mehta. He's written this lovely book, Romancing the Heart. I tell Dr. Saab that he's first a teacher, and I mean, probably he's a teacher and a doctor, both combined. He's, of course, a very renowned cardiologist of the country, but also a fantastic teacher. So I met him, and then he proposed a few, tests. All the tests come positive. Now it is established that things are not all right. And then I go through certain procedures as per his recommendation. So this year, friends, this 2011 sudden turn in my life, in my family, anything to do with the heart is, you're all alarmed. Everybody's alarmed. And of course, the races and everything stopped. So I went through this procedure. I went through all the medication that Dr. Saab recommended. After about 6 months, when the dust of this sudden news, once that started to settle in, and we started getting used to this new life, then I went back to Dr. Mehta, and I said that my dream of going back to the track was really haunting me. So I said, Dr. Saab, now can I run? And he told me that you cannot run. It is not advisable for you to run, because of the heart condition. You do not want the heart rate to go up. So the difference between runners and walkers is that for walkers, the heart rate is much, much lower. And the recommendation is your heart rate should not go up above 70% of your peak heart rate for that age. And with age, the peak heart rate drops. So therefore, the 70% of that heart rate is obviously getting lower with age. So that's the recommendation. So therefore, he suggested not to do it. Then again, I started thinking that what can I do? Then an idea came to my mind. I had heard about speed walking in Olympics. So I said, why not explore this? So I went to I went to YouTube, And not this particular video, but I looked up a video which was how to become a speed walker. So I clicked on that, and there was a guy, it was a 10-minute video, who was teaching how your arm movements happen, how your leg movements happen, how your hip movements happen to be a speed walker. I said, this looks good. With this, perhaps, if I get doctor's permission, I could start maybe resume my journey. So I'm going to pause here, and I want Chitra, you are going to play this video, right? So this is kind of a preview into race walking, and this gentleman here, Jared Talent, he's a 3-time Olympic champion and current record holder in the 50-kilometer category. And I'm not sure if my runner friends are on the line. He did this in 3 hours 36 minutes, 50 kilometers. Our runners who do full marathon, 3 hour 30 minutes is like a phenomenal timing for a full marathoner. And this is not 42 kilometers, this is 50 kilometers. So obviously his speeds are much higher. So please look at the video, and then I'll resume my story. No audio, Chitra.
Chitra, you need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I need to unmute. Yeah, I figured. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah. Now?
We hit the road with Olympic gold medalist Jared Talent to look at the precision technique needed to master race walking.
My name is Jared Talent. I'm a race walker. I compete in the 20-kilometre and the 50-kilometre walk. I went to my first Olympics in 2008, won a silver and a bronze medal. And 2012 Olympics, I backed that up with a gold medal in 50K. Race walking is an endurance sport. It's an endurance event in athletics. There's 2 events. The 20-kilometre event will go for around 80 minutes. 50K, a little bit slower, but obviously a lot longer event. We're going just over 3.5 hours. In the 20K, you can reach speeds up to around 16 kilometres an hour for the best guys in the world. 50K, a little bit slower, getting down to around 410 per kilometre, about 14.5 k's an hour. With race walking, there's 2 simple rules. First rule is you've got to maintain contact with the ground at all times. So you've got to have 1 foot on the ground at all times. Second rule is when your leading leg lands, it has to be straight. That's what defines the difference between walking and running. Running, you'll land with a bent knee, and also you'll have both feet off the ground during the gait. The movement is very different to what most people are used to. You've got to be really precise in your technique and getting that correct so you get through the race. There's really strong arm action, really long hip action. It's a heel-toe action as well. Arm movement is very important. You get a lot of drive from your arms. So it's used sort of like an L shape, and your arms are held a lot lower than what you would if you were running. You don't get much impact on the ground as compared to what you would if you were running. Running, you probably get about 5 times your body weight going through the ground. For race walking, it's only about 2 to 3 times. So it's actually a little bit easier on the body. On a typical day, it's usually get up around 7, 7:30, head out training about an hour to 2 hours later.
You can shut it. That's all I wanted to run.
Morning can vary quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yes. So you got a sense of it. This is the epitome of pace running. He does 30K at the speed of 16 kmph. Just to give you a sense, the marathon runners, they run at 20 kmph. So this guy runs at walks at 16 kmph. And when he does the 50K, then he does at 14 kmph. And just to give you a comparative, my best speed is between 8.5 to 9 kmph when I do my speed walking. That's the kind of peak speeds I achieve. And anyway, I do not push myself because I do not want to do that. Okay, so these are the kind of videos I started to see and get an idea of what speed walking is and how I could pick that up. Now, in the beginning, I must say that it was, if you notice the speed walking, ये थोड़ा मटक मटक के चलता है. So the hip goes, keeps on curving constantly, twisting and curving. So it's a little funny. And some of my friends in the park, I'm not sure if they're there on the line, so they would say, "To Amit, kaisa chalta hai tu?" So in the beginning, I was a little conscious of doing it because I'm the only one in the park doing it. But I can share with you, friends, that after some time, you don't bother about it. After that, wherever I went, whether I traveled in India or overseas, I just kept to my style, and I just did what I had to do. And it just becomes part of you, and you do not remain any more conscious of it. So with this technique, I went back to Dr. Mehta and I said, "Can I walk?" He said, "You can walk, but make sure that the heart rate does not go up." I took his permission, and then I started this practice. And with that, I was very, very happy. With God's grace, got back into the circuit again after a year. So 2013, I was back at this stand chart Mumbai Marathon. And then onwards until 17, I kept on running various races, not just the SCMM. Every year I ran about 3 to 4 races in and around Mumbai. I also went back to the Airtel Delhi half marathon, which I had missed a year before. So I did that, I think, some 2 or 3 times. So like this, every year I used to keep doing it. And runners will say that being on the track is a runner's high. Being on the track with so many people early in the morning, uh, and again, it depends on the city. In Mumbai, you get so much participation from people, and we start, typically these races start in darkness. When we start at 6 o'clock or 5:30, it's absolutely pitch dark. But by the time let's say we do a round of the sea link, and when we are back into Worli, it's like the sun rays are on, and then people are the sun has risen, and people are out on the streets clapping. And then those claps, friends, that does not stop until we reach Azad Maidan, and runners will relate to what I'm saying. And that is what keeps you going. That gives you that adrenaline rush. So there are different, to me that motivates me going back into the track and being with co-runners. And there is so much joy during the race. We chit chat so much. In my early days, in that 2013 to 17, uh, I was that much younger, and the pace was really good. I used to walk along next to lots of runners. I remember one of those races on Sea Link. We were going together. There was a group of 10 runners, and I was with them at the center of them. And then one guy said, "Sir, this is too good, too good. Just keep it up." You see, those little statements are wonders of motivation to you. And this is what runners do to each other. So those are some of the joys of the track. So in short, I continued that journey. You can see that was actually I improved on that timing, if you noticed, by a shade 3 minutes. So by speed walking, I achieved my best timing so far, 2:32. And that year when I did 2:32, I said, can I beat the 2:30? And this is again the runner's bug. Whatever timing you have achieved, you always want to beat it. But again, looking at my condition, and then for me, it was not so much to hit any kind of targets. For me, it was more the joy of being on the track. So I then stopped pushing myself in the later years. A few years back, I even crossed 3 hours, because the fitness, all depends on fitness levels. So if you're not fit, and if you've got, let's say, 3-4 kilos excess weight, it matters in terms of 10 to 15 minutes. So your weight is a direct proportion to the timing. So there were years when I was not up to the mark, and then I did cross in one occasion. I think I did about 3 hours, 3 minutes, something like that. So anyway, those were the races. Then you see what happens is, again, for our runners, I'm calling it runners, I'm interchangeably using the words runner and walker. So for us, once we do a certain level, then, in that circuit, you're always chit-chatting. So I will later share with you my friends and my mentors. So they keep talking about this full marathon. So I said, this is very interesting, and I must do the full marathon at some stage. And that started playing in my mind. And the other thing that happened is, by the time we came to 2017, the Mumbai Marathon starts off in Bandra. There are 16,000 people. So forget the start line. After you're 5 kilometers into the race, people are still going over each other's toes. So many people. And I was not enjoying that. I said, this is getting too crowded. And know that I am a walker. So therefore, people who I have for company are all, the laggards, those who have not practiced, who are not non-serious runners. There are loads of them who come to the track. So I had such people in company, and I used to walk along with them. And then I said that no, I want to change this group, and I want to try going for the full marathon. So that year 2017, I prepared that entire year, and then I hit my first full marathon in 2018. That was not an easy one, because my wife was very, very concerned, my daughter as well. I remember first time I'm doing my full marathon, and my daughter calls me somewhere around midpoint in the race. I finished the sea link, and what happens is, early morning you start from Azad Maidan. For those who are in Mumbai, you come to sea link, you take a U-turn from there, and then you go back to Azad Maidan, which is ahead of Marine Drive. So around that point, when I'm kind of half distance, I get calls from my family, and they say, Dad, can you please stop now? I am there, I am doing my first full marathon and trying to motivate myself. And, these are all, now on hindsight, these are all funny moments. But at that time when these things happen, then, you think, now what do you do? But anyway, I want to thank my family. They have been with me. Without their support, I couldn't have done all these things, especially as a cardiac patient. They have allowed me to try all these experiments. And so then I, of course, finished that race. And for those who have not done a half marathon or a full marathon, the first race is always a very memorable race, also a very learning race. You learn many, many things on that race, which you do not learn when you are in practice. The practice does not teach you that. When you are on the track, then when you have finished the race, there are many, like in anything that you do for the first time, there are always learnings. So there are plenty of learnings from the 2018 race. But then I continued, got the support of my family, continued 2019 again, and 20. You can see the timings, there's some fluctuations there. And then 20, of course, after that, then the pandemic hit. Now again, like I was sharing with you, so now full marathon was better. We were only about 5,000 people. I'm talking of the Mumbai marathon. Only 5,000 people. You can see the seriousness. A casual runner is not going to come into a full marathon. No. I have hardly seen any casual runner. You see them in the half marathon, not in the full. So full is serious business, and I was liking that, the fact that I was in a company of people who are very really committed runners and all of that. And again, very inspiring. You must go into that holding area of the full marathon. Very different kind of people. Those look very, very different from the half marathon. Very, very fit, very agile, and you learn a lot by chatting with them. In one of those races in IIT Powai, there was a young lad, must be in his early 20s. He was right on the first race. He won the race, and I was also standing next to him, and we were just chatting up. He said, Uncle Ji, we don't run with the legs. I said, fit, then what? He said, I'll run with the abdominal muscles, what we know, runners call it the core. So I learned, you learn these things from them. So I said, oh wow, I never thought about that. And then I talked to my friends, and then they also said that, I should, usually runners do this plank. The plank exercise helps you build the core. And once I started doing that, I said, oh, that's true. Actually, the leg muscles are supporting muscles. The core muscles help you run faster. So those are some technical matters, but we'll not go there today. Coming back to the race, so now the full marathon was done. And then, as again it happens, you are now in the circuit of full marathoners, and guess what they are discussing? They are now discussing the ultra. They are saying, oh, I am now doing this 50K. Then somebody says, oh, I did the Bangalore marathon 75K. Then somebody says, I'm preparing for the 100K. So you see, in the beginning, all these figures look very astounding. You just cannot digest those figures. But once again, I'm a bit of a crazy guy in these matters. I just like to see how far we can go, and especially this running and all has been very close to my heart. So I then started thinking that I should prepare for an ultra, and why don't we try an ultra? And that is how in 2019 I did my only ultra. This was a 12-hour race, and this is a circuit that starts. It's called the Mumbai Ultra. It's a very, very popular ultra marathon in Mumbai. It starts in Bandra, goes to Worli Sea Link, Worli Sea Face, and you take a U-turn from there, come back to Bandra. So that's the circuit. That's a 10-kilometer circuit, and we start at 5 a.m. and it finishes at 5 p.m. So 12 hours. Of course, this race you do not run continuously. So you go and take circuits, and different people have different strategies. And again, this was the day I learned so many things that day. Just an interesting statistic, that year I was 55. So I told myself, I said, let me at least cross my age in terms of kilometers. So I said 60 looks like a good target. So I took a target of 60. But again, like I said, the first race, you are under prepared. So it didn't happen. So after 2 p.m., in fact, it was very, very hard. And as you may have heard, the mind has to take over the body, and all of those things are true. So again, you kind of gather yourself, you see what is going wrong. I had completely exhausted carbohydrates. So there were some people there who helped me get some potatoes, and those are instant energy, instant starch and instant carbohydrates go into the body. Then you get some rest and prepare again. But still, I finished at 54. That's the only Mumbai Ultra I did. So this is in short my story. I think by and large we've ended. I'll share a few more slides around, a little bit around speed racing and racing in general. So, this is by the grace of God. So far, this is what has happened. And just praying again that 2021, we put an end to this pandemic. Just praying that January 22, the TMM gets back, and all these runners who are starved of running for the last 1 year, we get back into the circuit, onto the track. So I don't intend running these technical matters. If someone is really in this group, really interested to get coached on this, I've got my coordinates later. Please feel free to put your questions there, and I'll be happy to work with you. But pre-race, typically 4 months prior to the race is when you prepare for if you're doing the first half marathon. If you're doing the full, even longer, maybe 4 to 5 months is when you start preparing for the full marathon. And then there is something called as a weekly mileage. Initially you start with a small number of kilometers, and then you do a long run on Sundays, or like 1 day of the week you go for a long run. Typical recommendation is, if you are doing the half marathon, for example, so 70% of the race distance you need to cover in your practice. So which means you should have had a few long runs of 14 to 15 kilometers. If you're doing the full, then you should have run 30 kilometers, 32 kilometers. If you have done that much a few times, that gives you the confidence, and the body prepares itself for the race. So those are some of the preparatory matters. And I think Chitra will agree, preparation is important and planning is important as much as in your world as it is here. The other thing which is important is watching the diet. In this phase, you got to be really very tight in terms of your diet, and make sure that you're not adding those kilos. Because as I said earlier, if you have 3-4 kilos excess, that is going to reflect on your timing. So therefore, there's a direct correlation of those. And then, of course, on the race day, an interesting snippet for those who do not run. The night before the race is not a good night for racers. We cannot get sleep. We're constantly, bothered whether the alarm will go or not, whether I'll wake up. What about that, the gunshot? Will I be there on time? Will I get the Uber on time? All these things keep playing in our head, and it is globally, this is true. So the recommendation is for racers, runners, is to sleep well 2 nights before, because that night there is nothing. So sleep well, get your 8 hours of sleep, because the night before the race you're not going to get it. So anyway, so I live in Powai, and if I have to go to Azad Maidan, I really have to wake up at 3 a.m. and get out of the house by 3:30, 3:45 maximum. So those days are really very, very early, and you have to prepare yourself in terms of these carbs are important. About 24 to 48 hours before the race, we start having potato, starch, rice, not in heavy quantities, small quantities. But what happens is the starch and carbohydrates start depositing in the body. And I have noticed that it helps. On the day when you are on the race, it really helps. So those are some preparatory matters. And then on the day of the race, of course, you have to have your... Now what I've written here, different people do it differently. Everybody has a strategy around fluids and carbs. So in my case, If I'm doing the half marathon, around the 10K mark is when I start having the fluids. Until then I'm okay, and then after that, right up to the finish of the race, you got to keep having them. If you are doing the full marathon, then you have to start having fluids around the 8K mark, slightly before. You don't want to push yourself too much. You want to make sure that the body is properly hydrated. Hydration is a very important part of running or walking. And then carbs. Carbs are important. What happens is, if you have up to 10K, at least I don't need the carbs. So it's only around 12, 14K, I start to feel very exhausted. So if I'm doing the full marathon, I would maybe start having my carbs, which is whatever you carry, like Dr. Vishal, who's one of my mentors. He told me one day, I asked him that, what should I have, Dr. Saab? He said, you have khajur. Khajur is very, very good. And then I put lots of khajur in my pocket, and I did one race. You know what? I had a loose tummy. So these are all the challenges. You see, every body is not the same. So I realized that this khajur is not going to do good for me. So now I have got other things, I've got other chocolate bars and stuff like that. That gives me instant energy. And there are some medicated chocolates also available. So those are pretty good. So I have those carbs. If it's a full marathon, I would have it maybe around 10K mark and not exhaust myself. So it's important in a long race, you do not run out of energy, because energy is what keeps you going. So carb management is important, hydration is important, and you got to know through races, running these races and finishing these races, you learn the strategy around those. And then of course the finishing line is always a high for a runner. An interesting thing happened with me after the full marathon, the last but one, the second one. And I learned from Dr. Vishal. I used to get cramps, and I knew that the runners know that you get cramps when the body fluid drops in the body. So you have to hydrate yourself. And I was doing that. But what I did not realize is, after the race is over, I should have had gulped down a liter of water. I did not do that. So I started from Azad Maidan. I had my snacks. You do a little bit of stretching, you have a bit of a snack, and then you start to walk out of that place. And as I started to walk out, I was getting cramps, and these cramps were not normal. They were occurring in my thighs, in my abdomen, in my chest. I said, my goodness, and I was alone. And my goodness, how am I going to manage? I somehow managed to walk up to that Regent, I think that's the one. Regent Cinema, is that the one in Mumbai? So I walked up to there, that near Kolaba area. And then I was waiting for the Uber cab to come, and I was almost collapsing with these cramps. And I was also losing my sense in the sense that I didn't know how to deal with it and whom to ask help from. So I again got reminded with my friend Dr. Vishal, who said that have water. So I had two couples from Kolhapur. They were my age, same age group. I requested them. They immediately, runners are always very helpful. So they had a few bottles of water. I immediately gulped down almost like a liter. I felt a little bit better. I got into the cab, and lucky me, I find the cab driver is having one huge 2-liter bottle of water. Whatever water that was, it was not Bisleri for sure, but 2-liter water. I requested him, I said, can I please have this water? And once you reach home, I will make sure, I replenish it. So he was kind enough, he gave me that water. Again, inside the car, I finished off that whole thing. That saved me. And then I learned that after a race is over, please do not rush to take Uber. Sit there, replenish fluids. You see, this is how we learn, replenish fluids. Then rest and recovery, indulge, there are some people who go for parties and all that. I am not that kind. But there are, people who would go for parties, but that's fine. So this is typically how you finish the race. And now, the two mentors I want to talk about, this is Dr. Vishal Khatri, is a pediatrician. Now, unique story about him. He was an asthmatic. He was telling me he could not walk 100 meters. Today, Dr. Vishal has not covered any full marathon in the country of repute. He has been to all cities. He has done Satara, he has done Mumbai, he has done Thana, he has done Bangalore. He has done Bangalore Ultra 75 kilometers. He has done races overseas. An interesting thing he shared with me. He says, Amit, I do this because I have built friendships on the track. These friendships are long-lasting friendships, trusted friendships. So he says, I run because of that. That is what racing gave to me. I'm sorry, I think I'm taking more time than needed, is it? We are up the hour.
No, not at all.
Okay,
I don't
I'm
know.
finishing almost. I'm sorry, I will take another 5 to 10 minutes.
No, we have enough time. Yeah, I mean, all those who are listening to you are also, I guess, amazed by all your, in spite of the challenges, what you have accomplished. There are many runners here. I'm sure they'll all talk to you. So please go ahead.
I'll finish
Take
quickly. Yeah, thank you. I'll
no,
finish
take
quickly.
your time. Yeah.
So, so this is Dr. Vishal. I am not formally trained. I must share. I did not under. I am a unique person in this gang because nobody has got a speed like me. The runners are go ahead of me. The walkers don't do marathon. So I am like the in between category where there is no company, you know. So the only thing is that on Sundays we meet and I spend some time with them. But otherwise, when they run, I can't run with them. So so that's Dr. Vishal. He has guided me a lot, and he has given me all those tips to become a better runner. The other is our dear friend Divakar. These are all Pawai mates, you know, all the people, you know, because I live here. A fantastic runner. He's also, you know, part of the, is very close to the organizers of the marathon races in India. He's very well connected in the racing circuit. He's also the, what do you call that, the timer in marathon races. You have those people who do the timing, and he has done that many times. So he's a big inspiration, and you can see that, you know, he's got a fantastic timing there of the full marathon. And Divakar's passion is now not so much running. He does a bit of running, but he has produced many runners like me, many, and that is his passion. So coaching and developing marathon runners is Divakar's passion. So we are all like part of the same huddle. So thank you, Dr. Saab, thank you, Divakar. I remember you always. Yeah, after every race, I remember them. Okay, now just a 30-second video just to show you. So I am going along with Dr. Vishal. So he is running and I am walking. So I just wanted to. How are we going to run this, Chitra? I am going to run it, right? Okay, so.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, I have to stop sharing. Yes, share. Okay.
You can barely make out the difference.
Thank you.
Wow.
No, that's you know, in the park we were just wanted to shoot the video. That's a very, Dr. Vishal is obviously going much slower than his usual speed, and even I am slower. That's not the speed with which you do racing. When you're on the track, obviously much higher speeds. But anyway, just wanted to give you a quick demo of what that looks like. I think last two slides. Benefits, you all know this, just a reiteration. Great cardiovascular exercise, nothing better than walking or running. And of course, you know, walkers say that this is again a disputable item about joints, so I rather not get there. It builds muscles of your legs, arms, chest, abdomen, core. I was talking about the core earlier. Immunity. This is an important one, friends. As part of my coaching, when I work with even executives, there is a lot of stress management that comes there. And I think I do have some coaches on the line. So if you are, this is one of the best ways you can get your stress management treated. Depression, anxiety, all you have to do is just walk for half an hour, 1 hour every day. So a great boost for your mindset. The other reason that runners will say they run is this, endorphins. These are those hormones, the happy hormones that get secreted. This is what pushes, you know, a lot of people ask me, how do you wake up in the morning? What pushes you to wake up every day morning? So I want to answer today that endorphins. The short answer is endorphins. Because I know that if I wake up, push myself out of the bed, within the next 1 hour, I am going to get a dose of endorphins. So that's my short answer to it. This is a, you know, lot of senior executives and CEOs who run, they talk about this. A lot of their clutter in the mind, people who deal with a lot of complexity and complex decisions, would benefit from this. And of course, BP patients, cholesterol patients like me, diabetes patients, it's a master stroke. Walking and running can do so much. And the beauty is that, like I said, no gymming, no gym instructor, nothing. You don't have to go anywhere. Just buy a pair of running shoes and then you are there. So those are some of the benefits. Yes, now an important question. I know I can't get your voice, but I just want you to imagine what is a good, and I think Chitra, a lot of your clients are also in my age bracket or even senior to me. So so it doesn't matter what age you are. I just want to ask this question, that what do you think is a good time to start? This is for people who haven't taken to it. What's a good time to start? So now I want to bring the ultimate example of our guru, Mr. Pankaj Desai. Desai Saab, the person in the green t-shirt. Let me tell you his story. Desai Saab was of course a sports enthusiast, and I used to play a few games and all. When do you think he started running? He used, at the age of 67,
Wow.
in the park, he used to walk at the age of 67. Then Dr. Vishal saw him because he used to do some runs at the end. He said, Desai Saab, you are running pretty well. You can run. And he said, no, I don't want to run. I'm walking. This is good enough. From there, he got inspired by that. Then he started running. Within 3 to 4 months, he did his first 10K race in Powai, and he beat all the other guys.
Wow.
All the other guys. He doesn't like to be called himself old, so I will not describe him that way. But all his other mates, he beat them. And he did, and for those who know statistics, he did 10K in 59 minutes. 10K in 59 minutes, first race. Now his other statistics is 2016 podium finisher in his category in Stanchart Mumbai Marathon half marathon. His timing was 2 hours 2 minutes.
Oh my God.
2 minutes. And then after that, 2017 he was second. 2018 he came third. He did Satara, he came second. So phenomenal. Every time I see him in the park, I would wait for him, and I would always have a 10-minute chat with him, because there is so much to learn from this man. So now you tell me, when do you start? Please don't tell me you're in your 40s and you're old. Please don't tell me you're 56, but you have never done this, because you have to look at Mr. Desai, who started at 67. Okay, 3 questions. How do you see, for those who have not done this and those who are kind of getting some motivation to do this, they may have some of these questions. So I want to leave 3 questions with you. And I think the most important question is, why do you want to do this? Like I can share, I'm working with one CEO right now. He has been diagnosed with high diabetes. So that is his motivation. If you ask me why this is important, for me it was the cholesterol management. That was important, So therefore there is always a why. There's a trigger. So what is your trigger? Question is, what is your trigger? Second question, what do I need to step out? What do I need to step out? Because I can't get out of bed. Because I have children who go to school early in the morning. Because I have to cook tiffin in the morning. Because I have to drive 2 hours to my work. Because by the time I come back, it is 10 o'clock. When will I walk? When will I run? So what do you need? What do I need to step out? And again, give you the example of this CEO. He cannot get out of bed in the morning. He cannot. I know it. So there is no point in giving him gyan that no, you try 1 day, 2 days, he will not do it. So I asked him that, what do you need to step out? He said, you give me a guy, you give me somebody, a friend. I can't walk alone. I said, who do you need? He said, I've got my sales guy who lives next door. I said, get hold of him. I said, get hold of him. You're an entrepreneur, you want to talk business, I will give you the opportunity to talk business from 6:30 a.m. You get 1 hour extra to discuss your business strategy. So now he is going to get the sales guy, and together they are going to walk and discuss all sales plans of the day, of the week, of the quarter.
At 6:30 a.m.
Yes, and in the process, he would have walked an hour. So again, so important. What do I need to step out? What is your what?
I agree.
Last question. How will I be? This is a very important thing. This start, stop. All of us suffer, all of us, without exception, have this start, stop syndrome that doesn't get us anywhere. You climb a few inches, you slip. You climb a few inches, you slip. That's not going to get you anywhere. Consistency is the key word. So how will I be consistent? Again, these are not generic answers, so I'm not going to say anything here. But if you are really interested, to work, to use somebody as a sounding board, me and my friends are around, happy to work with you. And so that's it. That's all I have. These are my coordinates. So I would, at the end, once again, thank all my mentors, thank Dr. Saab, thank Chitra, thank my family, and everybody who has got me here and gave me this opportunity today. It is wonderful to connect like this and share my story. I have never done this before, but I really enjoyed sharing the story with all of you. And lastly, anyone can walk anytime. Don't think it is late. Anytime.
Yes.
Come on, put on your shoes.
My God, Amit, that was so inspiring and fantastic. You really aced it. And I'm so glad that you did this, because I am sure that a lot of friends who are here and, all of those who followed you from LinkedIn, from Facebook back here, most of them didn't know that you had such a fantastic, skill up your sleeve, and they actually got to hear you today. So a big thank you from everyone who has attended, and we will be sharing the video to everyone who had registered and wanted to know about this. Meanwhile, before I move on to the questions which have also come already to you, I want to just tell people here that anybody who wishes to ask Amit a question, uh, please do put it in the Q&A box, or those who would like to talk to him also kindly just say so, and I'll unmute you and you can definitely talk to him. I'm so happy, Amit, that you have a lot of marathoners who are attending this. Yeah. As well as I have a very close friend who's a comrades guy also who's attending this, Mahesh.
Sure.
And, all of these people who came to listen to you to see how you do this. And, and as you said, a lot of coaches also, so that they can help others, those who cannot run,
Right.
who think that they cannot, and have a lot of such health related issues. And this is a beautiful alternative that I hope really picks up for us as a sport also.
Yes.
So without wasting too much time, I'm moving on to the first set of questions that came in. I'll just
Should
start.
I shut down this slide deck?
Yes, please, so
Okay.
that you can be
Yeah.
in the front. So the first question coming is, what type of shoes and diet would you, kind of prescribe to somebody who would like to do this?
Again, I do not know the context and your age and your purpose of running or walking, or are you planning races? Some generic guidance. Um, as Divakar says, that man doesn't need shoes. So, and I don't know if you are familiar. A lot of people run barefoot. That's again a very trendy thing in marathon circuit these days. People run barefoot, and
Hmm.
Mr. Milind Soman is the
Yeah,
biggest ambassador of that. He runs barefoot full
yeah,
marathons. So that is what it is said, and I also want to share with you a related matter, that human beings are the ones who can undergo the maximum endurance. It's not the animals. The animals can go faster than us, but they cannot go longer the way we can do. So for the last 2 to 3 million years, we have been walking and running. So I think that comes naturally to us. But coming to shoes, you see, I personally now use Vibram, which is the 5 fingers. I like that.
okay,
I do not want to go into barefoot because I I'm not very comfortable with that. So I need something below my foot for sure. Yeah.
hmm.
So some people use shoes of different brands. There is also a company. Let me just share with you what that is. That Tailor makes shoes for you. This is a website called shoedog.com. So in case you are a avid enthusiast and you want tailor-made shoes for you, you
Hmm.
can go to shoedog.com. So that's my response on shoes. But I found this Vibram very good. It's like midway, you know,
Okay.
midway to yeah, shoedog.com. And the other question is on diet.
Yeah.
So, you know, we all know carbs have to be managed. And for those who are, you know, in our age group, who are like full-blown adults, a male needs about 1800 to 2000 calories, not more. But you see, what happens is we do not pay attention to it. So we end up hogging. We end up eating 2 times more than what we need. So our calorie intake is very high. That's why we put on the paunch. That's why we put on excess fat. And that's the start of many other things to follow. So we have to curb this diet thing, whether you are running, racing or not. So I would say managing that carbs is important, and the standard stuff, the sugar intake, the you know, the amount of chapatis you have, rice, all these are carbs. We need them, they give us energy, but excess of that converts into fat. So we have to understand what is the right balance there. And one trick that has worked for me to cut weight, you know, typically this before the race we have to cut weight. So one trick that has worked for me is 7 p.m. dinner and no carbs at night. That works for me. And I think we kind of made that a habit now. So have some fruits and a soup at night. That's it. Because the night one has to be very, very light. So if I were to give one suggestion, please try that. It will work. You will cut down weight.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. The next question coming is, I use Fitbit and do an average of 11,000 steps daily. How would this, the speed walking help me accelerate?
So, so let me give you some calorie statistics related matter to this question. When we are sitting and doing nothing, we are burning less than a calorie per minute. Okay, when we are walking, we are burning about 5 calories a minute. When we are running, we are 5 to 8, 7 calories per minute walking. Also depends on the weight. If your weight is more, you are burning more calories. So the equation goes like that. And if you are running, then you are burning about 14 calories in a minute. And if you are speed walking, you are burning, depending on your speed, your weight, you are burning anywhere between 10 to 12 calories in a minute. So therefore, the answer to this question is, if I am speed walking, then I am accelerating my calorie burn. If I speed walk for an hour and Divakar runs along with me for an hour, Divakar is burning more calories.
Correct.
So that's the simple equation. So therefore, when you upgrade yourself from walking to speed walking,
Speed walking. Yeah.
that's that much more effective.
That takes care of.
Yeah, I can share with you. When I walk, you know, some Sundays I have this, my gang members, they say, this today you gossip with me, enough of running. Today is a gossip day, and I do give in. The days I gossip with them for an hour, I think some of them are there on the line, I don't sweat at all.
Ah.
No. So unless I am speed walking for an hour, वो मजा नहीं आता है, you know, you don't enjoy it. Yeah. So that's how it is.
Yeah. There's a nice question. How does one work on oneself to experience healthy lifestyle and overcoming medical handicaps?
It's a very broad question.
Yeah.
Difficult to answer a very broad question like that. You have to look at what kind of health handicap you have, but doesn't matter what the health handicap is. It doesn't matter. You know, the health will take its own turn. It's not really in our hands. You know, who will undergo what is not really in our hands.
Right.
Let's focus on what we can do, and what we can do is we can invest 1 hour on ourselves. That is something that we can do.
Yeah.
And then depending on, like I said, if it's a BP case, you decide what is right for you. If it's cholesterol, you decide what is right for you. If it is, you know, something else, then something which is in line with that. And running and walking are not the only things. There are so many other things, right? There is yoga. Yoga is such a powerful thing. Pranayam is such a powerful thing. Now Dr. Mehta is himself talking about pranayam. Cardiologists are talking about pranayam, the benefits of it.
Yeah.
So, you know, there are those combination of things. If this is a serious matter, please do consult an expert. This is what I would suggest.
Okay. Question coming. One question is, if you practice in the park, what's the surface that you're walking on?
No, our surface is this. It's the stony surface. So it's not grass.
It's
It's
not grass or marble.
cemented. Yeah, cemented. I think. Yeah. Cemented, and then you see, I do the park on the weekdays, and weekend Sundays. Most of us go off to Hiranandani because it's a lovely circuit there. But that's also a road. It's a tar road.
So the question again, follow through from one Mr. Parin Shah is we hardly have any good roads to run compared to cities globally. So does it not create that much pressure on the legs and the knees? There are many cases of injuries. Has it ever deterred you?
No, Parin. No, Parin. Let's just get out and do it. The रास्ता अपने आप बनेगा. Don't think that आपके पास घर के पास रास्ता नहीं. रास्ता अपने आप बनेगा. As you start the journey, you will figure out. If this park is not suitable, you will go to some other park. If this route is not suitable, you will figure out another route. And the injuries, Parin, are not so prominent. I would say very rare. People do have injuries. We all had. I have also had injuries, but it's not like you walk for a month and then there is a fear of injury. Therefore, I should not walk. That is not right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So there's one Mr. Saumin Chakravarti. He's asking if I drink water during my long run, my body behaves like a fish. Ask for more water. Hence, I don't hydrate. What do I do?
Oh. No, that is not right. So it depends again, like I said, on the distances. If you are doing a walk, if you're a regular walker and if you're doing say 5-7K, and again recommendation is you do not have water immediately. You come back, finish the race, get some rest after about 10 to 15 minutes. I think that is what doctor would recommend. But if you're doing long distances, then of course you need to hydrate yourself, and then you can't be like the fish. So you have to, it's a matter of practice. I mean, Somen runs. I know Somen is a regular runner. You have to maybe control that, because Somen, that when you take excess water, you are slowing down. So it's also affecting your timing on the track. So that's the other impact of having more water. So the technique is you have one sip. So what we do is we have one sip or two sips of whatever fluid we are carrying, and then finish maybe another 15-20 minutes. The body again signals saying that I need little more. Again 2 sips, then again stop. So that sort of thing would be better practiced.
Yeah. Mr. Soman, I have, yeah, you can talk also.
Amit sir, hi. Soman here. How are you?
Good. So
Yeah. So I have this problem, Amit sir. This has been a long problem. Like I did a 20 last some 7 days back. I've been down with viral, like non-stop in a week, 3 days. I did 20 each. I never hydrate whenever I do 20. And for me, I can stay without hydrating for the next 1 hour also after I do a 20. So now this is because I did it in 2014 while running Tata Mumbai. And that point of time, my body was like, boss, asking for more water, more water, more water. Ultimately, my timing went for a toss. And that was a learning which I got. So is that the right practice?
no, I don't think so. No, Somen. Running 20 kilometers for whatever time. What's your timing?
I do it like I did 20.76 in 2 hours, 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's a pretty good timing. But I don't think, my friends who run like you in 2 hours would recommend that. Hydration is necessary. And since it's a half marathon, you're getting away with it. If you were to apply the same technique for a full, it would be very, very dangerous. So please do not do that practice. Go get a proper trainer who does races and get some guidance. But my recommendation would be to keep hydrating and not to worry that you're going to become like a fish and have loads of water. That's up to you how much you want to have. The answer is not to be at a 1 or a 0. There can be an answer at a 0.5.
Okay. Thanks, Amit sir. I'll do that. I have one last question for you. Now, this is how I've got it from the Chennai Runners group. So, as you know, all of us socialize within the running community. So, one of my friends in the building, he does run, and one doctor in Chennai, he met with a cardiac arrest, and he's no more. Now, they are advising, what doctors are saying is, this is to you and to the doctors in this group, is that you do your kidney function test, you do your 2D echo, you do your ECG, and after that they're advising one more test for everyone above 40, 45. I am 46 now. So above 40, to do that before you go on long endurance runs. I've so far not done it, but I'm going ahead to do this on Monday. But I never had any problems. Doing 20 for me is okay. I still, in winter especially, I still feel I can do another 5 more. Okay,
So man,
so is it mandatory, sir? Should I
yeah,
do it?
so man, I'm so happy you brought this question out. I wanted to cover this in the presentation earlier, that before any race, doesn't matter whether you are a patient or a no patient, if you are doing an endurance race, please go and have your checkup done. I went for it, and that's how, we discovered
Yeah,
so many things.
yeah, I
If
know
I
it, sir.
had
I
not
know
gone
you.
for it and maybe I went for the Airtel race, who knows what would have happened?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why we do get some unfortunate incidents on the track. So it's very important that you go and have the checkup done before every race. Of course, for me, I'm a patient, so therefore I have to do it. But even for those who do not have anything, like you, Somen, who think that I am absolutely fit, I can do 20, I can do 25 also. Please do not do your next 20 without doctor's guidance. And those tests and all, I am not the expert. In my case, I normally go through the lipid profile and the liver function test and the TMT.
Oh, correct.
That's what my doctor suggests, and that's what I normally do. And then doctor looks at those reports, and only after that, I get the green signal to go ahead.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks. Pleasure talking to you.
Same here.
Next question is from Mr. Vishwanathan Radhakrishnan. Amit, very inspiring speech. I'm Radha. You may remember me from the VRCE days. I walk about 10 kilometers on an average each day in about 1 hour 45 minutes.
1 hour 45 minutes.
1 hour 45 minutes. If I want to start running, what is the speed you recommend me to start with? How much should I run in the beginning?
10 kilometers in 1 hour 45 minutes. Okay. What is the speed like? 10 kilometers in 1 hour 45 minutes, is
1
it?
hour 45, yeah.
Okay. So let's say if it is 2 hours, it's about 5 kmph. Okay, fine. 5 to 6 kmph. Okay. Radha, first of all, nice to connect back. Very happy that you joined today. I would say, just like you saw the example of Mr. Pankaj Desai, what he used to do is he used to walk in the park like you, and the last 4 or 5 rounds he used to run. So I would say if you're walking for an hour and 45 minutes, maybe a good idea would be after you're done 130, then the last 15 minutes you can run. Last 15 minutes. And even that, I would not suggest you do it straight away. Maybe start with small intervals, start with 5-10 minutes, then increase it to 15 minutes. And the heart prepares itself, the body and the cardiac muscles, they prepare itself for running, and that's a gradual process. So we have to allow that process to take place and not rush into it. So start small, take baby steps, and then slowly you will notice one day, probably in 6 months time, if you are consistently doing this, probably you can do a gentle jog for the entire 1 hour 45 minutes. If you want to pick up speed walking, you could do that as well.
Okay. Another question coming from Mr. Shashank Nabar. Is open air walking better than the treadmill?
I like the open air than the treadmill. There are some people who are used to the treadmill and who like to do it in the gym because they do many other activities in the gym. So they go to the gym, they do the treadmill, they run for half an hour, and then they do other activities in the gym.
Right.
But I don't think there are any rules for it, and there are no benefits or specific benefits or disadvantages of doing it. It's all up to us. And like Shashank, I'm also a big. I rarely go to the gym. I hardly go to the gym. So open air is always better. Open fresh air,
Huh.
any day better. Who would go to the gym? Yeah.
Yeah. So I have some specific, people here who are runners. So who I know.
Yeah.
So I have uh, somebody who actually was the podium finisher for TMM from the last year 10K. So this is her. Then I have Mahesh here, who is comrades 3 time now. Mahesh, I don't know. Also, And what I'm going to do is I'm promoting them so that everyone can turn on their videos and audios and talk to you, right?
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
love to.
yeah. Ketan, can you do that for me?
Yeah, sure. Everyone?
Everyone, panelists.
Okay.
So, Amit, the very fact that people, so I guess thanks to TMM,
Yeah.
there was always this thing that I should do it, and then luckily there have been so many running groups now all over
Yeah.
that it has, I guess, inspired a lot of people to take up running, right?
Yes. 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 Yes.
And you've
You've
seen,
got Dr. Sab also, Dr.
yeah,
Akshay Mehta.
yeah, everyone,
Yeah.
yeah. Dr. Mehta, great to have you on, and
Sir, अभी भी लगे हुए हैं, 1.5 घंटा हो
so
गया
glad
है.
that everybody is here.
He's taken so much time out, my goodness.
Yeah. So, this shows that
Ashwini is there.
uh,
He's my
look at the
friend.
whole, everyone has stayed back for this, and everybody has, I'm sure, enjoyed your talk. And this is one subject I feel
Yeah.
that
The
helps
whole,
everyone wanting to share, especially what you spoke in terms of the camaraderie of runners.
yes. Yes.
It's unique. It's so
It's
beautiful.
unique.
I mean,
It's unique.
and what you said about, for me also personally, what works is if I know that I see my colleague Sumita, if I see her at the ground, then I feel that I should get up and go. So that's a trigger for me.
Yes.
So these things work, and I mean, today so many people here, the half marathoners. I have Alona; she was the podium finisher a year back,
Right.
and uh, in the women's 50 plus category, right, Leona?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
Gold,
have
gold
correct.
Pankaj
medalist.
Bhai is
50.
also there. Mr.
Yeah.
Pankaj Desai, about whom I talked, he's there.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Desai. Great to have you on.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll request everyone, you can turn on your videos if you wish. And good to see you, Sumitra. Good to see everyone. And please feel free to share whatever you guys would like to talk about your personal experience with running, walking, uh, you know,
Sumitra is here. Wow.
yeah.
We are
Yeah.
connected on another forum, so I'm surprised to see you here.
Oh, really? Oh, you
Yes.
all know each other. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. That's Ashwini, my friend.
Okay. Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know all these
Sumitra never saw this face of me.
lean, mean looking runners.
You're on
Absolutely.
mute, Sumitra.
Absolutely. If I can say something, Chitra, with your permission.
Please, please.
So, Amit, this is such a pleasure to know that you've been a runner and you're still into running. I used to be a marathon runner before 2016-17. And in fact, I had crewed with Raj Vadgama for his first 100K in Mumbai.
I see.
So I used to run a lot, but
Wow.
that's a story for
We
a
never
different day.
spoke
But
about that, Ashwini.
now that I have you as my life coach, I'm going to get you as my running coach also. That's for
और एक
Yes.
5 AM मिल गया buddy.
Thank you so much, Chitra.
Most welcome. Sumitra, you were on mute when you were saying something.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I said I was so surprised to see this side of Amit because we are in a different group and he's so good there and he knows so much. And,
Lovely,
very, very
lovely.
impressed. Yes.
We are doing a Gita class with
Yeah.
Swamiji.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yes. Studying the Vedantas.
Awesome. So you brought Sumitra here.
I
Yeah, so
know.
surprised to see her here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I'm so glad you joined, Sumitra.
Yeah. It was so wonderful, really. Saw
Oh,
another side of you.
thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Navar is a golfer and
Hi, Shashank.
yeah.
Small runner, not much of a runner.
Sure. Very glad. Okay.
Yeah.
You can see my daughter there, Shruti. She's dialed in from Toronto.
Oh, lovely. Hi, Shruti.
Must be 10 o'clock now.
Great.
Yeah, 9 o'clock.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah. Good to have you on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think we'll also
Are we done, Chitra? Because we have spent about an hour and a half already.
Yeah, I was just
it's a Friday evening.
inviting every to come and say a few
Yeah,
words.
very nice to
Yeah.
see the faces. Yeah.
Yeah.
पंकज भाई आप हैं क्या देसाई साहब गगनदीप भाई you're on mute.
Yeah. Hi, Amit. How are you?
Very good, yeah. So nice to see you.
I was so happy. I remember and I could recall, 2010 half marathon which you did
Yes.
In Mumbai, and I did the ADHM over here, and we were talking and we were sharing our experience. I'm so happy that I had just had a screenshot of the journey which you had, and as one of the folks just said that you're gonna be, he's gonna make you as his running mentor. I have saved the number, and definitely you are there on the list. Hot dials now.
Absolutely, Gagandeep. I do remember that chat. He's my ex-colleague, Gagandeep. So very happy that he made the time.
So nice.
Amazing. So happy to see you. I mean, same. And this is, I think, I'm looking at you after almost 9 years.
Yep.
And there is not a half inch, I would say. You have moved. You same consistent. The third point which you said, the consistency. How would I be consistent? So this is you're really an inspiration. Thank you for this, Amit. Look forward to that. Amazing.
See you. We'll connect, Gagan. We will connect.
Absolutely, Amit.
Thank you. Yeah, I can see Zubin there. That's my colleague. Parin again, my ex-colleague.
Yeah.
I wanted to check with Mr. Desai. Desai sir, are you on the line?
Yeah, he's here.
Because if you can put on his video,
yeah,
then
no, he can turn it on himself. Yeah.
Yeah. Not sure if he's there on the line.
Alka, I think you were asking another question. Did it get answered?
No.
Yeah. Would you like to ask?
Yeah. Hello.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I have also started doing the speed walking. But sometimes what happens is that I get this calf muscle I get a little cramps in that, or maybe sometimes in the hamstring also I get cramps. But what is the reason for it?
Alka, I may not be able to really pinpoint what the reason could be.
Yeah.
Like I shared with you, in my case it was. How long are you walking when you get these cramps?
I walk for about 2 hours.
Okay. So if it is that long, then probably water intake. Check that. See if it helps. So if you load up with more water, then the cramps will not occur.
Okay.
Earlier, I used to think that you have to have salt to cut cramps. That was my thinking in the early days.
Yes.
Until my friends taught me to have sufficient hydration.
Okay.
And now, like you saw in whichever race I went, the cramp thing didn't happen after that. Once I started having water. So either that could work. If that doesn't work, then maybe get some medical guidance, Alka.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's my son Anshuman there.
Yes.
All hiding.
Sunanda, I'd like to see your face. It's all thanks to you that Amit has been able to do a lot of things. Right? Yeah, Anshu, if you can turn on your video.
Not
interested.
Not on the line. They just logged in to mark attendance.
No. I'm sure not that. That's not the case.
Oh, you had log in. I just come here.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So I think. Hi, Sunanda.
Hi. Actually, I'm watching, from Anshu's video.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, this was wonderful. Thank you, Amit. And thanks to all your friends who have signed in. On your way out, guys, when you log out, there'll be a small survey. Just request you all to please fill that up also. And that will just give us some more, it make us feel happy that yes, we're doing the right things for our attendees. Thank you so much. Thanks a ton.
So shall we close the call now?
Yes. Bye-bye.
Thank you again for everybody for making the time, and thank you, Chitra.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Bye, Dr. Mehta.
Bye. Thank you. Excellent
Thank
talk.
you
It
so
was
much.
very interesting. Amit.
Thank you. अरे डॉक्टर साहब कैसे हैं सर?
I'm unfortunately little clinic work and listening to you both. But it was
Oh, I
excellent.
see.
Yeah,
Okay.
but excellent.
No,
I think
great.
it's an inspiration to a lot of people who would
Yes.
not be able to run but can walk. I think and a very detailed and a very nice talk.
Yes, doctor. So
Thank you.
many
Okay.
people who have
If you
BP
get,
issue.
yeah,
And
if you get a recording, send it to me.
Yes, we've said it.
Okay.
For sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
100%.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, doctor. See you
Thank
later.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Chitra.
Awesome, Amit. Thank you.
Chalo. See you.
Yeah.
We'll connect
Bye-bye.
later. Huh? Shall I
Yes.
disconnect?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.